Alright, here we are in Game 3 of Reason versus xCet. So obviously series tied up 1-1, and it looks like this is a remade match as the picks are going extremely quickly, so we'll just ignore the bans for now because they're not real bans, they're just sort of banning heroes out. And on the Legion side, Tempest, Nymphora, Gemini, Scout, and Ravener. So pretty clearly a Suicide Scout there, one of Casey's favorite heroes, so no question that they're quite happy to pick that up. Tempest on Pew, running a jungler. I like that. Of course, Reason not running a jungler, running that second support once again. And I keep saying that's putting them in a disadvantageous position, but they don't listen to me. Probably because this match was played weeks ago, and they wouldn't even if they could hear me. Because they've actually won some games with second support against the jungler, so good for them. But Legion side's pretty clear. Ravener Nymphora mid, Gemini solo. Bot, Tempest in the jungle, and Keizu as the scout in the suicide role. Pretty solid lineup in general. The only concern I have here is they really don't have much team fight. Gemini will fix that at some point just because he becomes so powerful that it doesn't matter he doesn't team fight particularly well. And Twin Fangs and Twin Breath do some AoE damage, so that's nice. But both Scout and Ravener aren't really team fighters. They're gank heavy heroes. They do a lot of single target damage. They don't do too much in an AoE. So Tempest Ultimate pairing with those heroes I think is a little curious. I really don't ever have a problem with picking Tempest. He's obviously that good that he fits into any lineup because that Tempest Ultimate can just do so much, as it looks like we're going to have a clash here on bot. Reason's going to find Scout here, but he's going to be able to get away pretty easily, and everybody else on xCet's going to back the hell up as Reason is invading their jungle, warding the crap out of it. Okay, good. I thought there was a word of sight. I'm like, why did you do that? Don't do that. Double blocking the pull here, so making sure that they cannot get both of those countered. Actually, both of those can be countered with one word. So that was not good. Anyway, yeah, the other play's way too close. This needs to be like to the far left of that camp in order to prevent that. Anyway, so Legion lineup. Little gank heavy, I think. They perhaps need a little more in-team fights. They're not going to be able to do too much in that respect, as Nim's going to take a bunch of damage here, thanks to the lunge and the auto attacks from Drunken Master. But he will just back up. Zeal coming out, going to hit both ends, actually, as he's now getting harassed on Imboboy. So DM, really, Imboboy getting one of his favorite heroes. He likes to play that a lot. He's done it a lot in the past. Tempest over here going to get found out by both Drunken Master and Torturer, but not going to be too concerned. Elementals are just going to farm away, and, well, they're not actually. Yeah, there they go, as Tempest runs. So they're forcing him out of jungle, but this is actually a bigger problem for Reason than it is for Tempest, because he doesn't care about actually being there now, and that's Impalement's going to do quite a lot to annoy the crap out of him, but, oh well. Anyway, so strong Legion lineup here on Legion side, but we'll see how they do in team fights. There's not too much of that. Of course, with Nymphora ganking pretty much everybody, they may be able to just not take team fights without getting a pick or two. As actually things are a little interesting. Keizu is in the bot lane solo short against Engineer Pebbles. Nox is middle. And we're running Ravener and Nymphora top. So xCet has predictable lanes, but they went with the unpredictable configuration. And we'll see how that works out for them. Gemini probably need a bottle here, especially because he is middle. And that's pretty solid. He likes having a bottle. Really allows him to spend his mana a lot more, and so I don't dislike that, especially against a solo Tundra. Scout on the bottom lane. This is sort of an effectively suicide bot, as Pebbles NG is a very strong lane combination, usually seen middle. So Reason's doing a similar thing. You would expect Pebbles NG to be mid. They are in fact bot. You would sort of expect Drunken Master to be suicide. He's the only true suicide here. Honestly, if I were running this, I probably would have put Tundra solo short, or Tundra solo top or middle, and then a tri-lane Pebbles Engineer Torturer with Drunken Master suicide. But Reason certainly not deciding to go that direction, as they have some pretty interesting lanes here, of course. With the dual supports on Keizu down here, he won't be able to get very much at all. Tilla on this Engineer just going to do a good job of boxing him out completely. Up top, things should be relatively even. Both of these lanes have substantial kill potential, especially if Ravener goes into the jungle like that. And there's the Impalement on top of him. Ball Lightning onto Torture, actually, the Zeal Stun on both, on top of the heal, and down goes Saint Rocks on that Torture. So, great Zeal Stun there from Sender, hitting both targets, doing a bunch of damage with that stun. And that really helped out the Bloodlust kill right there, and he deservedly picked it up. So, a bit of a poor start here for Reason in this top lane, as now that they've given up that Bloodlust, there's going to be a substantial advantage to Nymphora and Ravener, as I assume Rav's getting a bottle at some point. And he will, of course, be able to spam his abilities thanks to that Grace of the Nymph, giving him some mana back. So I expect Legion side to play really aggressive here in middle, as Tundra and Torture come in for a gank onto Gemini. Chain Reactions is going to hit, but he doesn't really care. Twin Breath actually going to miss. But he has Twin Fangs, of course, so he can just run away if he needs to. If Torture is going to stay here, I actually like this. Shutting down the Gemini and the Scout with dual lanes is probably very good. Drunken Master going to take a bunch of damage here, put the lunge in fact. So now this is effectively a suicide short lane for both teams, as DM has been left alone, Scout's been left alone in bot, and both farmers, both heroes here won't get too much farm. On the other hand, I think Reason's doing a slightly better job of shutting down people here, because both Scout and Gemini like early starts. Scout farms well, of course, if you get the cleaver, and then even if you don't, really, he does farm fairly well. Gemini has a similar effect with that Twin Breath and Twin Fangs. He can farm quite well and recover even after a slow start, but it's nice here to do everything that they can to shut down this really dual carry lineup that the Legion side's running. Scout's going to need to vanish out there because the turret went off, I believe, with the Chuck stun combo. So he probably missed Scout with the Chuck, otherwise I can't imagine that wouldn't have been a kill. But Pebbles doesn't care too much. Getting Scout to back off the lane will allow him to increase his GPM, and both him and Tundra are doing quite well in the middle lane, of course. Up top, Ravener has the highest GPM in the game thanks to being involved in that Bloodlust kill and having some pretty easy freeform up here. 31-4 compared to a 17-1 Drunken Master, so pretty effectively winning that top lane. In middle, Tower going to take some pressure here. Tundra is up to 31-4, just like that. Ravener actually was 2-4 now. Gemini, meanwhile, 20-4, so slightly better than DM in that short lane. On bottom, we've got Pebbles at 34-10, so once again effectively dominating that lane. And Scout, on the other hand, only at 9-0, so he's having some issues. Will pull here, grab a couple of CS off of this. Of course, the issue is, as always, you got to compare that Tempest at 245 gold per minute to either of the supports, both sitting just above 80 GPM. And so clearly a farm advantage there. Keg is going to hit Scout, but and Rev Ward actually goes down, so they can see him here. But he will Scout out and live. Pebbles going to clean up these click creeps and actually get himself some farm, the Wild Hunter, so thank you very nice, he says. I will just take those free CS. Up top, DM once again getting boxed out. Gonna use the lunge in. Ball Lightning gonna miss, so that stagger stun comes out, and that's the lunge actually, not stagger. KZU does fall in bot lane as he's just gonna take the Sunshot combo here, leave it on top of the keg. There's the stalagmites and the keg. Here comes the Chuck and the turret. There it is. So that's sort of the problem with running the Scout against Pebbles NG, of course. Often considered a very strong lane. Tempest's going to come in here middle. Impalement stun goes off onto Torture as long as the Glacial Blast, but Gemini going to split up and easily be able to take that damage. Oh my god. That was a pretty terrible play there from Nox. If he hadn't split, if he had just auto-attacked, that would have made me an easy kill. He is much faster than Torture. I mean, he's got boots. Torture doesn't have any. He really could have dove and gotten that kill. Bell Lightning up top onto Drunken Master, followed by the Zeal Stun and the Nymphora's heal, but the stagger, the lunge stun is going to come out, and he's going to, actually turn it around thanks to Tundra here, but they're going to fight him off. So Tundra coming up here for reasons. Ball Lightning going to be on to Drunken Master. It is going to hit. Ugh, that's painful. So, That's the issue where that stagger follows pathing. It's stagger, right? I'm doing the... Yeah. So that's really what happened there, is pathing had to be followed, and he was in the middle of the creep wave, so he just went nowhere. And that ball lightning was basically allowed to hit. Now DM will have phase boots relatively soon, those Ghost Marchers, so he should be somewhat okay in that regard. Pebble's going to come in here and try to get a kill onto the Tempest, and will do so. Just finding Pew in the wrong spot. There's a ward here, and they probably saw him coming in. Scout and M4 are going to try to get some revenge here, and NG's in some trouble. Going to open up on him, but Zeal Stun misses. Ball Lightning will hit, and Ravener's here to clean up the kill. Actually, KZ grabs it, but that was really Ravener that ended up allowing that kill to happen once that Zeal Stun missed. So, good cleanup there. Of course, slightly in favor of the Hellborn team, as, you know, Pebbles got that kill onto Tempest compared to the kill onto Engineer. Certainly Tempest a more valuable target, especially right now. And they're doing a pretty effective job of shutting him down. 200 GPM. He actually was forced to switch jungles. He originally wanted to start out in the Hellborn jungle and ended up going back to Legion jungle, so of course that cost him some time, and they were forced to farm. And then the effective gank from Pebbles there, getting him down to 200 GPM, so... Reason doing an effective job of controlling this jungler. Meanwhile, on bot, Pebble's going to take a bunch of damage thanks to Ravener for it, but Tempest is here, Tundra's here as well. Ravener going to be a little too fast. Nymphora now in a lot of trouble. Engineer ultimate going into second half of the Nymph stun will hit. Tempest is here with an ultimate, will drop it onto Nymphora, so... Or onto Till, excuse me, as Nymphora falls. Zerigo picks up a double tap. So... Few major cooldowns used on both sides, the Engineer ultimate and the Tempest ultimate, of course. Tempest ultimate being a slightly bigger one of those, but they do get 2 kills on the Legion side. Coming in with the Glacial Blast, you're not going to be enough as Torture is just able to back off in time. So slight resource advantage coming out here for the Legion side, but not something you typically, a little smaller than you typically see, of course, with the jungle versus second support lineup, as Reason's doing... They did a really, really effective job of controlling KZ down here in the bot lane. He's at the lowest, just about the lowest farmer in this game, just right up there with Nymphora. And he needs to start picking it up relatively soon, otherwise he's going to have a terrible game. We're almost 10 minutes in this thing, and he's sitting at 162 GPM. And usually it's at this point with a suicide. Actually, Pebbles has a portal kill already, Jesus. On top of his steam boots, so choosing not to go the bottle route, and instead deciding, oh, I'd rather have the early PK, but showing it off there, and now the Legion side knows about it. Hellborn, it looks like, is grouping up for a push in middle lane. Actually, Drunken Master decided to go back middle. Sorry, bottom lane. So Drunken Master will go back middle, make sure Gemini just doesn't get anything he wants. Impalement from Torture there, but there's the glyph, and Ravener just going to pour it out. So we're going to see a free tower here in favor of the Hellborn side, as... There it goes. In middle, meanwhile, Nymphora comes in with Tempest, and DM's in a lot of trouble now. Zeal Stun will hit on both sides. There goes the Twin Fangs, as well as Glacial Blasts and the Nymphora's Pod. He's going to get away. Okay, you brought 3 heroes in there, including a Haste Gemini, and 3 stuns, all of which hit, and you couldn't kill DM. Like, that's not good. And, yeah, he's got the Stout Shield, but he doesn't have Steam Boots. He has Ghost Marchers. Meanwhile, on bot, Ravener in a ton of trouble. He's going to follow the Impalement from St. Rocks. Glacial Blast come out onto Engineer, but Pebbles is a portal key. Of course, he doesn't have any mana now. Tempest running away as fast as he can. He does have boots, but Pebbles has Steam Boots, so a little faster, not fast enough. Up here, Gemini going to see a bunch of damage. Engineer Field doesn't actually hit anything, as Nymphora Zeal helps take out Imba Boy on that Drunken Master. Gemini going to run away, is going to follow the auto attack damage from St. Rocks, so favorable trade there for the Hellborn side as they pick off the opposing team's primary carry in exchange for Imba Boy, who is farming decently but not super well. And then they will clean up the mid tower as well, so Reason taking an advantage here. Top KZu's just trying to pick up some farm, and this is sort of the issue that I was talking about earlier. Not only does he need to, is he having a slower early game, which of course is going to affect his later stages, but he can't really fight right now. He needs to farm. So unless they take like significant engagements where he can get a couple of kills, he can't be with the team because he can't waste the time hanging around in case somebody else gets jumped. he needs to spend that time farming, and as a result, he's not with them, so they're taking all these engagements down at least one man. If they manage to pick off somebody early, then it's down, 3 versus 5, or if, you find a couple people in the jungle and, Keizu just can't even get there, so, like, even if there's an initiation on the part of the Hellborn team, if they lose somebody quickly on the Legion side, they basically just have to give it up because they don't want to fight 4v5 obviously, and they don't want to waste Keizu's time sitting around when he needs to be farming. Actually, Gemini's in a similar situation. Now he's going to die, actually. Stun Chuck combo there on top of Lexelianos. He will get out of there with the Twin Fangs and just barely survive. Impalement on Torture as the Tempest ultimate goes off onto him. And Zane will fall thanks to the Sout ultimate, and Keizu picks up a second kill. So that's what needs to happen. So if they can take a true 5v5 or, an advantage on the Legion side, which is exactly what happened there. They had 5 heroes there, and the Hellborn only had 3. Then Keizu can be there, but
destroyed a Legion tower.
Without that, he needs to be farming. So Zergo going to clean up the creep wave here a little bit, thanks to that electrical feedback. As Imbuway did kill top tower, so Reason now up 3 towers to none. And they push pretty well on Reason's side, but it's impressive that they've managed to outpush Legion as much as they have. Torture Impalement doing plenty. Tundra and Pebbles can clean up creep waves relatively quickly, although Pebbles in particular doesn't usually want to use his mana just for that, and his cooldowns for that matter, as Stalagmites does have a pretty substantial cooldown. But Legion side with the Nymphora and the Tempest, you'd think that they'd be taking towers a little earlier than they have, and really they haven't done too much to anything. Mid tower is deniable, in fact, so I'm not sure why that hasn't gone down. I guess they're baiting it. But bot tower and top tower are relatively high health. Impalement going to come up from Torture here as they're again pushing secondary mid tower this time, and with even a slight response from Legion, they should be able to defend this, but it looks like Legion's more interested in pushing bot tower, which is interesting because that's the highest of the first tier towers on the Hellborn side. Meanwhile, up top, Gemini is going to initiate onto Drunken Master here with both the dogs, and DM's going to put the stagger back in. Now, actually, Gemini's in a ton of trouble because there's tons of support coming in here. There's chain reactions, actually. Won't even matter as Death Growl gets the last auto attack to finish knocks off.
Destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Bot tower does fall to Zergo and Scout, but mid tower continuing to get pressured here, as the Legion side doesn't seem particularly interested in defending it. Finally, Tempest comes in, and we see a port in here. I believe that's there from Zergo. I thought it was Nymphora. That's the Nymphora port. Ball actually in a miss, so is the Zeal stuns, and the Keg stun's going to hit nobody as well. So 3 stuns going out there. None of them hit. And both teams, it looks like, will back off to some extent. Dust of Revelation coming out onto Tempest, so they see him, but he'll just leave. And we have 3 heroes grouped up here on the Hellborn side looking to push this tower, and once again, Torture Impalement is available. It's level 4. Scout here invisible. And Tort will not drop the Impalement just yet. Now we have 5 heroes here from the Hellborn side. Scout opens here. He's going to get jumped by Pebbles and killed. And Nox might actually, because he's sitting right on top of a ward. So there's the initiation over here with the new portal key on Ravener. He will jump onto Engineer, and Engineer's going to fall here before he gets the stun down. Zeal stun actually hitting 2 there, but Zergo will fall, and meanwhile Keizu actually gets picked off by Saint Rock's not sure how. Tundra ultimate onto Nymphora, and she'll take the chain reactions and the death there. Energizer onto Gemini as he manages to pick off Zane on that Tundra, and then will run away. Tundra, meanwhile, has a portal key now. Chain reactions onto Tempest. Saint Trox finds him with the Impalement, and he'll also fall. So 4 for 2 hero kills coming out here in favor of Reason's side, and it looks like, I think, they'll push this mid tower in a little bit. They might be able to get it. They've got some pretty significant respawn time still left, so if they just focus this down here, I believe there's a Chuck from Pebbles. Glyph actually went out just in time, preventing that damage from Chuck, but this is still going to be a mid-tower kill. Scouts coming in here, along with Gemini, who's hasted. There's a portal key on Ravener, of course. They're going to pick off Saint Rox, who's relatively low. Imboy's in a ton of trouble. He's also going to fall here, pretty much no question, as Ravener's now looking for a second target on Pebbles, making sure he's enabled to portal key away, but he gets chucked off of Pebs. Imboy is just trying to distract them, making sure that Death Growl can get away, and he just might. No portal key available, but if he jumps in, Engineer has plenty of support there. There's the Keg and the ultimate. No. Ravener will just decide to leave, as will Engineer. Of course, he doesn't have enough mana for the ultimate, so that's the problem. So Death Growl able to get out of there, just barely, but the Hellborn team sort of getting cleaned up after they took that mid tower. So in the end, I think it was a relatively even fight. Both sides went 4 for 4. The only problem is, of course, that the Hellborn managed to kill that secondary mid tower. And if they're not careful, then they might just lose this to creeps. Nope. Yep, good. Somebody's going to pour it in here and deny this thing, because... Just deny it, Death Growl. Otherwise, Ravener could portal key in and kill it. Like, just deny the damn tower.
No
Thank you.
goodies for you.
Anyway. Here another big problem is, like, on the minimap, these eyes create the same sort of effect as the Nymphora port does. Meanwhile, bottom, Scout's here, on top of Imboboy, and he's got lots of support coming in. Lots of support. The entire Legion team is here. Twin Fang's actually going to miss, but the Ball Lightning will hit. Zeal Stun, not even necessary, as Imboboy falls very quickly. And they're going to try to chase here? Maybe? Yes. Ravener going to portal key out in, but everybody on the Hellborn side's backing the hell up. Meanwhile, over here, actually, Ravener going to get caught out thanks to the portal key from Pebbles. So, a combination there, plus Lex Talionis and Zane, who is sporting a new portal key. Oh, he has one. He bought one. I guess he sold it. He has an eye, so maybe he sold the portal key, bought an eye. It's interesting. I don't really hate it. Anyway, so look at the GPM charts here real fast. Relatively even across the board, actually. Of course, we only have a 400 gold lead for the Hellborn side, so it's not surprising that they're relatively even in total gold, but really even the scope is quite even as well, with both DM and Pebbles farming above. Not above, as Gemini's now past him. So Gemini and DM right there next to each other. Pebbles and Ravener right next to each other. Tundra and Scout right next to each other. Torture and Tempest pretty well right next to each other. And Engineer and Nymphora right next to each other. So a lot of counterparts over here, as Pebbles is going to jump in onto Ravener here. Won't get the chuck onto him, though. Impalement coming out as Scout opens in the back. Keg is here, but won't force anybody inside the ultimate, as Torture's in a ton of health. He will fall, but Ravener going to pay for it with his life. Except the Tempest ultimate coming out, catching 2 Twin Fangs there, on top of the Twin Breath. Imboboy jumping in here, but everybody's going to fall on the Hellborn side. Engineer's doing what he can. Kegsun's going to hit 3, so well played there. Actually, Sender falls. Nicely played there from Imboboy. The Pound Die is on Gemini, and they're trying to chase him down. He will run away, will grab the refreshment room. He has a bottle, so that's going to get him plenty of health back, and of course he's fast as all hell, thanks to that Elemental Force. Buyback on a Death Growl here, so he's also chasing, trying to get this Gemini killed. He actually kills the Gemini here, or the Bound Eye here, trying to make sure it doesn't go back to the hands of the Hellborn. That's a good decision, as Nox ultimately falls. So, I would say that was a bit of a one fight there for the Legion side. They did pick off, well, it was 3 for 3 until that Pebbles buyback came in, so they basically traded a buyback for a kill there. And we'll see how that affects the game. If this goes particularly late, then it will favor the Legion side, of course, as buybacks become more valuable. But if it's ended relatively early, and that being dead for 30 seconds prevents Nox from grabbing some farm, and it allows the Hellborn to get a tower kill or 2, then obviously it will be in favor of the Hellborn side. So I think a little too early to tell, as Ravener decides to portal key away before he gets caught by anything. Just too much support here for the Hellborn heroes. And without Gemini up, I don't think that they can contest this. They will not.
Destroyed a Legion tower.
It sort of looks like they want to keep fighting this, but wisely, I believe, they will back up. I don't think they really can push base yet, especially not with a full 5-man team up here for the Legion side. Of course, Tempest Ultimate is down for another 80 seconds, so they have that knowledge, but we'll see. Choosing not to triple stack these here is Torture, instead they're just going to take them. Might be a little dangerous, but they should be able to kill these if they bring 2 or 3 heroes relatively quickly. Even though the Legion side is here, I guess they have a Ward of Sight here as well, so that would have been a bit of an issue. Meanwhile, over here, K's are going to get picked off by Zane and Pebbles as he walks right over a Rev Ward. There's the Stun Chuck combo on top of the Tundra Ultimate and the Piercing Shards, yeah. So Keizu getting picked off there, still not having a great game. 285 gold per minute, just fine, not great. As the Hellborn has taken a 3k gold lead and is down 2.2k experience. So relatively even game still here. As the Legion side looks to push this top tower, but Hellborn is having none of that. Death Growl and Torch reporting in here, looking for a pick, and Nox is going to fall here. Pretty definitely. There he is. Stun Chuck combo onto him. Ravener actually manages the portal key out. Ball Lightning is going to hit Pebbles and might allow Gemini to run away. Tundra, or Hawk, is going to come over here, and they're going to spot him. There's the stack lunge stun onto him, and Nox is ultimately going to fall. So, good Ball Lightning there, but like I said earlier, it's a dead Nox. So Nox is having not a great game. 4-4 and 6, 336 GPM, so... Getting picked off 2 times in somewhat rapid succession there, really tanking his farming, and he's actually just barely above Zergo here, who actually should exceed him now that Zergo can spend some time farming and Nox is dead. So now Zergo, the top farmer on the Legion side. Meanwhile over here on bot, Scout's going to find Drunken Master, won't be able to kill him, but can scout him out. Lumber's actually sitting on the ground from Nox. Nymphora port coming in here though, and Drunken might have heard that. Yep, he heard that. So 3 heroes coming in here for the Legion side. There's a portal key on Ravener, but they're not going to be able to get in range as Ambiboy and Drunken Master using his ears, and you can hear that Nymph coming in, like if you pay attention to it. So failed gank here from the Legion. They do waste the Nymphora cooldown, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. That's really what it's for, and it's not always going to work. So can't really expect that that's always going to turn into a kill. Looks like Hellborn's gearing up for a bot push now, trying to take the secondary tower. It is the last the outer tower, of course. Everybody's somewhat slowly making their way down here, of course. Pebbles probably not going to be directly attacking here, sitting more off to the side, waiting for some counter initiation if the Legion team decides to defend this. With no deaths on Legion, I wouldn't be surprised if they think this is worth defending. Then again, this tower is going down extremely fast. So, Glyph is popped here, but we're not seeing any ports. And this is going to be a dead tower.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Meanwhile, middle NG Pebbles looking for a kill on somebody, possibly Scout. And he's just going to run away, not even vanish, but doesn't need to be as they don't have any vision in this area. Word of Sight is going to catch him. Up top, a couple ports are going to come in, preventing the Legion push a little bit. But here comes Ravener with a Ball Lightning and DD. Pebbles taking a bunch of damage, but Ravener gets stunned out by Drunken Master and eats the Zeal stun on Pebbles. Engineer ult on the back. Scout's going to take a bunch of damage from that, and actually Zergo's going to get pushed into it and fall. Pebbles running away, trying to survive, and just barely will. Gemini going to fall as he splits up into his dogs. So 3 kills here in favor of the Hellborn side. Now Nymphora also going to fall as he just gets caught by the slow from the Coral. But then the second half of the Zeal stun not going to hit Imboy, and he's also going to die. 4 for nothing there in favor of the Hellborn team. The Legion does pick off that top tower, but obviously a substantially positive engagement for Reason Gaming over here. As xCet's just behind right now, and it's showing. They're not even behind by that much, but, you know, they picked 2 heroes here in Scout and Gemini that need farm and need to get built. And there's a bunch of heroes on the Hellborn side that don't necessarily need that. Tundra, Drunken Master, Torture, and Pebbles are all heroes that do well in the mid-game. They do well with relatively medium farm. And of course, if they get more, they can do more, but they don't really need it. Portal key on Tempest, and I actually like that decision a lot because they sort of need that. They need a big hole right here. If they want to get back into this game, open up some space for Keizu and Nox to farm here. So I think this is a situation where Hellborn team knows their timing. They know that this is the mid-game. This is where our heroes are going to shine the most when Pebbles' Combo is still going to do a ton of damage. Torture is still going to do a lot of damage to everybody. Engineer Field's going to be extremely annoying. They're not going to be able to kill it that fast. Tundra's scouting is going to be a big issue. His piercing shards still do a lot. His avalanche still does a lot. If we are still in this game in 20 minutes, I think we're going to see some pretty massive wipes on the favor of the Legion side, as just Gemini and Scout will destroy their opposition. But for now, it's a situation where Hellborn's heroes are just more suited to where the game is at. Portal Key on Tundra, gonna hit the Avalanche on Gemini, along with the Lextaniel, and Ascended Piercing Charge, gonna come in here with the Stum on Imbaboy, and that's gonna be Nox's death. Not able to get Twin Fangs off. Ravagor's gonna Portal Key away, so, or not, just Portal Key, so. Good TP there, knowing that the Stum was down from Drunken Master. But they picked off Nox once again. He's down to 311 gold per minute. Kaiser's farm hasn't increased. Ravager's farm's actually dropped pretty substantially. Pew still not having a great game on that Tempest. 230 gold per minute. And Sender Sender's actually having the best game of anybody. 150 GPM on a solo support. Nymphora is really not bad. Like, he's doing just fine in the GPM department. Has Steam Boots, has a mana battery. He's been keeping wards up, so... at this point in the game, we're almost 30 minutes in, Ravener and Gemini should not have 300 gold per minute. Like, that can't happen.
Has been slain.
Those heroes need to be farming way, way better than they are. That's just really deaths. Ravener's died 5 times, Gemini's died 6 times. That's sort of what happens. You spend all that time dead, you can't farm, of course you lose gold when you die, so it's a bit of an issue. So Hellborn finishing off Conqueror there. Token did in fact go to Drunken Master. A fine choice. Doesn't really matter. I don't think him, Pebbles, even Tundra or Torture could pretty easily have taken that token and it would have been fine. Top secondary tower is going to get pushed in by both some Legion heroes who then backed off, and the pretty substantial creep wave here. Attila managing to clean it up though. And here comes Pebbles in as well to take out that Ballista and finish off these creeps. Ravager farming in the middle lane, and Sender getting some counter warding. So good on him. Triple Stack Ancient's going to be found here by DMN now. Nim's in a ton of trouble, just dead. Just dies in a second there, and these triples are now going to be stolen by the Hellborn team, so excellent resource management on their part. Their own Ancients are dead, so no reason hanging out there. Instead, they're going to actually bring 5 heroes here and finish off these Ancients, make sure that the Legion team cannot do anything to kill them, interrupt them from doing that. Bot tower also going to get pushed in here by Gemini. That probably won't fall, not just because it's got too much health, but because if it got close, the Hellborn would choose to defend it. They've been pretty good about that, making sure that if towers are slightly in danger, they bring 1-2 heroes at least to back somebody on the Legion team off and make sure that towers are not just killed without a fight. And I do like that. I mean, there are obviously some situations where it's not sensible to defend a tower, but like if you can bring it, it's often nice to do so, because very often the other team's focus will be a little split. Do we want to kill the tower? Do we want to kill the heroes? And with the tower there taking damage, doing damage, that obviously sort of gives you another hero in the fight. Gives you another damage dealer that does do some substantial hurt. Scout going to run away here with the Energizer, as Pebbles was close. He does have Mystic Vestments and 1385 health, so he won't die to just a combo. Pebbles will need some support, but of course, with Portal Keys here on the Hellborn side, plus Drunken Master does have some substantial initiation range, even if he doesn't have a P key. So just Scout not knowing what was on the other side of that hill. Good decision to back it off. Hellborn team looking to group up and push in middle, it looks like, as they are once again knowledgeable that their timing is still positive. They've probably got another 10 minutes or so before things start to swing in favor of the Legion side. Of course, if they just keep their opponents you know, hemmed in like this and they're not allowed to farm, then they will continue to maintain the advantage. This mid tower going down real fast. Zealstone gonna hit nothing as it's sidestepped by Drunken Master.
Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Now a stun coming in. Actually, Chain Reaction's gonna miss Scout there, but still does a ton of damage. He's gonna fall immediately. Ball Lightning misses. Energy Field going off in the background, and Euphoria does do nothing. Zergo falls as well. Zealstone onto Imboy over here, but of course he's got the token, so he doesn't care too much. Just jumping in like crazy. Jeez, just destroying Tempest there. Zergo buys back on that Ravener. Gemini finally coming in, but doing very little. Twin Fangs do not hit. He splits up, takes out the token. 5-man hole there from Tempest. An excellent hole, but no follow-up damage as the Shrunken Head gets popped onto the Tempest, or Pebbles. Tempest falls. Gemini and Nymphora running away. That was a god hole. Like, that was what they needed, but that needed to happen before half their team was dead. And you can say, well, how come they didn't just wait? Well, because the Hellborn team knew that they weren't going to group up and get hit by the Tempest Ultimate when their whole opposing team was available. Like, once they had gotten a few kills, they were a little more reckless and managed to group up, but as Chethkral is going to jump over here onto Grenex, or Gemini, who will survive with the Twin Fangs, but now Keizu and Gemini running away. Portal Pushbook and Poured Out Torturer will survive, and actually there's going to be no chase here. Engineer is going to PK away as well, and Poured Out. Scout looking for anybody he can find. Actually, Nymphora Port coming in here onto Drunken Master. Going to dodge that Twin Fangs and probably get a kill here on... Nope. Almost got a kill on Nymphora. It's just a little too much damage, and that disarmor from Scout, of course, preventing him from auto-attacking. But the Hellborn clean up this base, you know. Mid-racks took half of top racks, the important half obviously leaving the range. And they have to feel pretty good about that engagement. They took 2 towers, they took 3 racks, and a bunch of hero kills, and all they lost was Imboboy and Imboboy's token. So extremely positive. They got Tempest Ultimate for that matter. Extremely positive engagement for them. Once again, just now taking full control of this game. 21k gold lead, 16k experience lead. No question that they're in command of this game right now. And as you can see from the GPM charts, Drunken Master way up there at 515 gold per minute. Pebbles just behind at 400. Zane on that Tundra is 360 and 319 for Torture, just ahead of Gemini at 315. So you have 4 heroes on the opposing team out farming the... 4 heroes on one team out farming the opposing team's primary carry. Like, that's usually not a great situation for the opposing team. Damn, those creeps are going to chase far. So, Legion have to be, like, they need another great Tempest Ultimate. And they need it to happen without their entire team being dead. And Tempest Ult is back in 30 seconds, so that might be feasible, but I think Hellborn's just waiting for Kong to respawn. And they're going to take Kong, and they're going to go bot and win the game. Or maybe they're just going to go bot and win the game. As they find the jump here onto Gemini, Kegstun follows the Avalanche and just gets wrecked by that DM with all that negative armor. Tempest's going to find a similar fate. Both sides of the Zealstone hit, but Stalagmite's still available for Pebbles as Nymph just gets 2-shot.
What you gonna do about
Pebbles running in, trying to do something. Gemini does buy out. And this is pretty much a last stand. That's, going to be called GG's. No Tempest, can't win. So, once again, we see the dual support lineup actually winning against the junglers. So, that's certainly not the norm, but it has happened a few times now. And I think Reason's done enough of it that they know how to play this against junglers. They do often play it against junglers. They don't play that much jungle themselves. So good for them, taking a 2-1 series victory over Team Excellent. And it's particularly impressive considering, you know, they did sort of win the laning phase a little bit, but it was relatively even. What they did that was, you know, really won them the game was they knew when to group up, take fights, take towers, and start pushing. They knew when their heroes were powerful and when the opposing team's heroes weren't yet. So, you know, that knowledge of this is our window is really what won them the game, I think. So, good on them. Strong performance, too, from Team Excellent, taking this to a 3-game series. Each game was over 35 minutes, so certainly none of them was poorly contested by any means, and that's going to be it for this Losers Bracket Round 4 series.